to discuss one of the important topics of sociology of gender, and that topic is power and subordination. In our previous discussion, we have already discussed about the sex and gender discrimination, sex or gender differentiation. Today, we are going to discuss the power and subordinate, the two important concepts, two important terms of sociology of gender. In detail, we discuss about the meaning and definition of power, because Max Weber has defined power systematically, and he discussed about the three important power, that is traditional power, charismatic power and constitutional, legal or rational power. Similarly, subordination, its meaning and definition we also discuss. Subordination is just opposite to dominant feature of society. Those who are powerless termed as subordinate, those who have power are known as dominant. Similarly, gender, that is power and subordination in Indian society. What is the scenario of subordination and power in Indian society? That is the patriarchal nature of Indian society, in which male dominated society has a special feature where male has more power in comparison to female. Then what are the solutions to improve the subordination and power situation related with women, and then women empowerment, and what constitutional provisions has made in India to uplift the status of women in Indian society. When we talk about the gender, equality and inequality have special importance in the structure, that is social structure, organization, that is social organization, and system, that is system of society. Gender inequality has an impact on the structural, institutional and organizational structure of society. Ultimately, gender inequality influence the whole picture of society, whole scenario of the society. Gender inequality also affect the balance, order and development of the society. In the last few decades, the streams of thought related to women's study and women's upliftment have gained a central and important place in the intellectual world. The process of development of these ideologies can be seen by relating them to social conditions and the speed of change in them. In the process of social change, the dimensions of mobility in race, caste, class and other social categories are clearly visible. After the Industrial Revolution, not only did lifestyle and cultural values change, but extensive changes also emerged in the social structure. In the last few decades, the theoretical and conceptual aspects of women's study have become dominant. Like the analysis of the class system, it is inappropriate and illogical to link studies related to women to any one topic or to limit it to thematic limits. The subject matter of women's study is linked to many subjects on a cognitive basis. Nowadays, we are focusing on the study related with gender, that is gender inequality, and how we change the inequality into equality. Now, women's study have been established as an independent subject, and that subject is known as sociology of gender, from the point of view study, teaching and research also. Physical and biological differences between the sexes, that is male or female, are universal, and the fundamental difference lies in the structure of genitals. This is known as biological difference. that is known as sex difference. Apart from the difference between the genitals, there are also differences between men and women in height, width, shape, chest area, difference in hairs in the body, etc., which are universal and have been universal till the present state of evolution. And by taking advantage of these differences, man has exploited women through the process of manipulation, the result of which is evident in the feeling of inequality, feeling of insecurity, and the tendency to concentrate power on men only. Now, this sex difference is now converted into gender inequality, gender difference. So, what gender and sex difference is? The terms sex and gender are the concepts used by academicians, sociologists, researchers, and feminist writers to differentiate between biologically distinct male and female and between socially distinct men and women. Feminist sociologists suggest that there is a need to understand and differentiate between the two terms sex and gender in academic discourse. We know that sex difference is a biological difference. This is by virtue of nature. One is male, another is female, but by virtue of society or through socialization, gender discrimination appears in the society. The term sex in sociology was used by Anne Oakley in her book Sex, Gender and Society in 1972. According to Oakley, sex difference means the biological division of men and women, and by gender we mean the parallel and socially unequal division in the form of femininity and masculinity. Now, this discussion is totally based on power and subordination, that is, who has power in the society and who are in the place of domination. The power is related to the personal influence of a person through which he or she has the ability to influence different people of the society. And Max Weber discussed about the three important types of power. One is traditional power. Through just like tradition, the power is transmitted from one generation to another is known as traditional power. Similarly, charismatic power, those who have some special feature or traits, and that feature is known as the charisma, that is charismatic, and through this charisma they have the power is known as the charismatic power, and through legal or constitutional status we acquire certain power, that power is known as constitutional power. Mahatma Gandhi did not have any institutional authority. He was neither the president nor the prime ministers, yet the prime ministers and presidents of many nations used to bow before his power, and that power is known as charismatic power. This source of power lies in those characteristics of a person which have the ability to influence the masses. This is the special trait a person has. The professors of two colleges get power from the same, but their influence, students' respect for them, fame, administration, etc. can be different. It has to do with his personal ability. Power is a fundamental unit of human society. It is a universal phenomenon. Everywhere we found this type of power in society. Max Weber clearly defined power as the ability to control the behavior of others even in the absence of their consent. As Ian Robertson says, power is the ability to participate effectively in the decision making process. Those who have power are in the position of decision making. Power is the basic structure of society and is possessed by social actors in different social categories in varying degrees. With the personality of one person or group of people, becoming so influential that the freedom of others is compromised. Women have often been on the abused side of power. They have less power. Some reasons behind this are directly or indirectly responsible, which are as follows. Men's greater physical strength creates an imbalance of power between men and women as a result of social structure and historical practices regarding finance, education, authority roles and decision makings. The second important cause behind the status of women, the abuse of power by men and the failure of cultural pressures to prevent or stop such abuse. The third, distorted ideas about sexuality and objectification of women. Max Weber, in his book Essay on Sociology, has said that power as the possibility that a person can achieve personal or individual. He also considered the ways in which power could be achieved through justice. Women as a group are at a distinct disadvantage when considering both power and authority. It means men has more power in comparison to women. When it comes to power, men and women have different amounts of power as individuals because of men's more privileged position in society, because society is male dominated society, that is known as patriarchal society. Men have more legitimate power based on rank or status than women. Similarly, the issues of women's power compared to men is not merely academic. The gender gap in power has real consequences for women. For example, although women have made significant gains in the workplace, with more women working than ever before and nearly a third of all management positions being held by women, women still experience pay discrimination. Most are being kept out of powerful executive positions and are moving more. They progress more slowly in their careers and experience less benefit from gaining education or work experience and are included in fewer networks and have less authority than men in similar positions. It means men has more power in comparison to women. Power can be interpreted in a variety of ways, including dominance or subordination. Those who have more power are in the position of dominant position. Those who have less power are termed as subordinate or subordinate position in the society. This power involves either dominance or subordination. It is ultimately built on social accepted threats of violence and intimidations, requires constant attention and invites both active and passive resistance. Competence. This capability relates to the authority to take decisions, the ability to solve problems and the ability to be creative and enable others. That is, decision making has power. Third is, with power, this power motivates people to come together for a common purpose or understanding and achieve a common goal. And inner strength. This strength indicates self-assurance, self-awareness and aggressions. It is concerned with how people can analyze their experiences to recognize how power works in their lives and then build the confidence to act on it, influence and change it. The second term is known as subordination. Power means holding a superposition, participate in decision making, etc. And the subordination is the lower status and they have no power to participate in decision making process. Subordination, according to Webster definition, subordination implies a person who is in lower rank or position than other opposite of a principal, that is one who is in top position, and subordinate is just opposite to the top, that is lower position. Inferior in terms of order, nature, dignity, authority or importance. To place anything in a lower rank or class, to make or consider something of little value or importance, like subjugating one's creature to another. To tame or bring under control, as to subordinate or subdue passions to reason, and to be assigned to a lower rank, class or order, to occupy a lower or inferior position is known as subordination. Subjugation of women refers to the social traditions, culture and customs that consider men as important, superior and dominant, while women are treated as second-class citizens. It restricts and prevents women from entering the public sectors, taking independent decisions, holding positions, etc. According to the Beijing Women's Congress, there is no nation under heaven where women are not subservient. As a result, the subjugation of women is a global phenomena that may be a manifestation of patriarchy. This is the byproduct of patriarchy. In most of the societies in the world where there is a patriarchy, that is male dominant society, some people believe that women are subordinate to men since birth, and that patriarchy has existed from the beginning and will always remain like other laws of nature. In this context, Greek philosopher Aristotle says men are always active and women are passive. According to him, the biological difference of women makes them inferior in their capacity, ability and hence ability to take decision. Australian neurologist and founder of psychoanalysis, that is Sigmund Freud, also says that for women anatomy is destiny. In his views, a normal human being was male. Whenever we talk about the human, that is a male society. However, there are some scholars who do not accept that men are superior by birth and women are inferior by birth. These theories of male dominance have been challenged, and it has been demonstrated that there is no historical or scientific evidence for such explanations. There are biological differences between men, women and other sexes across the spectrum, but these differences should not be the foundation of a sexual hierarchy in which men are dominant. It becomes clear that the subordinate position of women is man-made. It is constructed result of historical processes. Then gender, it means power and subordination, is totally based on gender discrimination, and particularly in Indian society. When we talk about the Indian society, what is the scenario of subordination and power? A patriarchal society is a society in which men hold primary power, being dominant in the roles of political leadership, moral authority, special privilege and control of property. Man also holds power in the family sphere as a father figure. Many patriarchal societies are also patrilineal, that is lineage through father to son, and patrilocal, it means after marriage wife goes with the husband, that is known as patrilocal, meaning that lineage determination and transfer of property occur through man. Here the female option is matriarchy. Historical patriarchy has manifested in the social, legal, political and economic organization of various cultures. The analysis of patriarchy and its effects is a major topic in the social sciences and humanities. Indian society, the nature of Indian society is patriarchal. When we talk about the Indian society, social reformers at the regional and national levels had made efforts to address the status of women and various problems related to them. Patriarchy has had an influence on the status of women. Patriarchy has existed as a universal family system in almost all societies and times. This system has strengthened the power and authority of men and has weakened the status of women and created their image and position as powerless. And this powerless situation is known as subordination. By restricting the mobility of a woman's body, her strength is limited. In order to limit the scope of women within the four walls of the house, the division of work between men and women are divided into internal and external spaces, under which the responsibility of all household work and child rearing was fundamentally linked with the role of women. Two clear effects of this separation emerged. First, women were deprived of attaining power and authority because the opportunities, circumstances and position for power and authority exist outside the home. Through this process, men gained monopoly in these areas on the basis of founding and cultural belief. Due to limited and one-dimensional opportunities for power and authority, a limited and distorted form of power struggle also emerged among women who performed different roles at home. On the other hand, the limited area and family circle also weakened the creative side of women. Experience and interaction in public and open spaces is necessary for the expression and realization of creative abilities. The taboo of the public sphere kept women bound to the routine task of domestic life. This work as a routine or routine work gradually tires the woman and destroys her ability. Such routinization eventually turns into boredom. During some periods of history, parda or veil emerged as a traditional and become widespread. This practice not only limited but also narrowed the scope of women. All these are the directly or indirectly influence the status of women in the Indian society. Every child has the right to reach their full potential, but gender inequalities in their lives and in the lives of those who care for them hinder this reality. But in India, gender inequality is visible in every sector, in their homes and communities, in textbooks, in films, in the media, and among the men and women who care and support them. Gender inequality results in unequal opportunity across India, and although it impacts the lives of both genders, girls are statistically the most disadvantaged. In India, girls and boys experience adolescence differently in the process of socialization. It means the process of socialization is different for boys and different for girls. While boys experience greater freedom, girls face extensive limitations on their ability to move freely and make decisions that affect their work, education, marriage and social relationship. No society can exist until both boys and girls are given equal opportunity. The same applies to India. India will not be fully developed unless both girls and boys are equal supported to reach their full potential. There are certain tasks, violations and vulnerabilities in society that girls face just because they are girls. Most of these risks are directly linked to the economic, political, social and cultural disadvantages girls face in their daily lives, this becomes intense during crisis and disasters. Girls face the potential for child marriage, teenage pregnancy, child domestic work, poor education and health, sexual exploitation, abuse and violence. Many of these manifestations will not change unless girls are given more importance. So, what solution we take to improve the status of women or to change the position of women from subordination to dominant, suppression to liberation? It is important to enhance the values of girls by empowering them, by investing in them with education, life skills, sports and much more. To enhance the status of girls, we must collectively contribute to the achievement of specific outcomes. Some short-term tasks like giving them opportunities to get education, providing maximum benefits of health services, other medium-term tasks like ending child marriage, and other long-term tasks like ending gender bias, sex selection, etc. Men, women and boys have to be involved in changing the attitude of Indian society towards girls. Along with this, many sectors of the society will have to be organized. Only when the perception of the society changes, all the girls and all the boys of India will get equal rights. So, one important part to uplift the position of women in society, empowerment is a process through which we can change the scenario of whole social structure, whole social organization, and that is important to uplift the position of women from lower to higher. The term empowerment, women in India have been suffering for centuries. She has been discriminated from mother's womb till old age. Society has shown little concern over this. Society believes that this is natural and not unnatural. This mistake of the society has been implemented in the law with equality. It has been tested on the criteria of right to life, and continuous efforts have been made to support it, which shows that women is also a human being and her rights are equal to men. After the independence of India, the Constitution of India has given all the rights to women, which leads to their empowerment and development. Under these provisions of the Constitution, the hope of women getting social, economic and political justice has increased. They have got equality of status and opportunity. By virtue of Constitution, women can get all benefits as person has, that is the counterpart of the society, that is male. Women empower means empowering women by making them realize their potential and independence so that they can become participants in the decision making process related to their personal, social, family and economic interest. That is to ensure participation in every sector of the society, that is every walks of life. Their perspective towards themselves and the society towards them and their social role can be broadened. In fact, the general meaning of women empowerment is to empower women, but it completely means the ensure equal participation of women in power institutions and all spheres of life. The ability to take decisions can be said to be a major standard of empowerment. Thus, women empowerment means women having equal freedom as men to take decisions in legal, political, physical, mental, social and economic field. Certain constitutional provisions has been made in Indian society to uplift the status of women and give equal rights to women as compared to men. In view of inequality and related issues, the Constitution of Independent India not only guaranteed equality to women, but also empowered the state to take measures of positive discrimination in favor of women. The preamble of the Indian Constitution clearly declares the state's commitment to human rights, including the human rights of women. Women also have human rights in the form of fundamental rights under Part 3 of the Constitution. Article 14 provides equal protection before the law to every citizen of India, male or female. Article 15(3) empowers the state to take special affirmative steps in favor of women and children. On the basis of Article 16, every citizen, male and female, has equality of opportunity in matters of public employment. Similarly, Article 21 provides protection from encroachment by both the legislature and the executive. Article 23 prohibits human trafficking and forced labor and give rights against exploitation. Similarly, Article 32 provides the benefit of judicial protection. In Part 4, the Constitution, some directive principles of policy to be followed by the state are mentioned, which provides equality to men and women. Article 39 provides for equal rights to livelihood and equal pay for equal works. Similarly, Article 42 provides for just and humane conditions of work and maternity assistance. There is a provision for minimum wages in Article 43, and very important from the point of view of women's right is Article 44, which recommends a uniform civil code beyond all religious rules. Apart from the above mentioned constitutional provisions, women's rights have also been protected by the laws given in the Constitution. They are Immoral Trafficking Prevention Act 1956, Criminal Law Amendment Act 1983, Dowry Prohibition Act 1961 amended 1984, Sati Abolish Act 1829, Hindu Marriage Act 1955, Hindu Succession Act 1956, Special Hindu Marriage Act 1954, the Medical Termination, that is MTP Act 1972, Family Court Act 1984, Women and Children's Institution, that is License Act 1956, and Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Divorce Act 1986, etc. Certainly, due to the implementation of the above mentioned acts, the legal position of women has become relatively stronger. Although the law has also made many types of protective arrangements for women, but women are not able to utilize these rights, and they are living a socially persuasive disability and low standard of living. Generally, they fail to enjoy these rights due to their ignorance. This is the reason why it fails to achieve the objective of equality with men legally. Another factor that hinders women from exercising their rights in the social structure that controls human behavior in rural areas, social ideals and social values which are not in favor of women exercising their rights and prove to be a hindrance in the practical implementation of such social laws. Their objective is not to see the status of women rising. We do not want to uplift the status of women in our society. Even then, certain constitutional measures are there to uplift the position of women. Now, we can summarize that the strong and respectable status of women is indicative of an advanced, prosperous and strong society. The status of women is considered second to that of men all over the world, but this difference has resulted in inequality not in nature, but by social structures. Therefore, this situation of inequality, marginalization and justice is changeable, provided it is properly interpreted and registered. The strong basis of the above explanation and resistance is the acceptance of women as a human being and the validity of all those rights which are associated with her as human existence. In this sense, it should be indisputable that violation of women's right is a violation of human rights. But it is not so. It required a long struggle for women's organizations to gain legal status for this simple and superficially uncontroversial statement. During the long period of struggle, women received many rights from the law as per their demands from time to time. As a result, women were able to raise their status and got equal rights as men in the society. Changes are also seen in the condition of subordination, which has been associated with women since the beginning.